just going over some of the information, I want to first and foremost thank everybody that reached out over the last couple of days. I also want to thank the courageous people that have in the past few days come forward and publicly spoken out and given their information. We had new allegations that we covered in yesterday's video. If you guys are just finding out about this story, go ahead and find me, Fake Mike Real News, on YouTube, and you can see the progression. We've been doing live videos every single day, and we've uncovered new information every single day. Why am I here? Mike was my best friend for like 8 years growing up. I met Mike when I was about 13 or 14 years old at the Little League. Somebody came up to me who I hadn't seen in a long time and said, "Hey, Will, did you hear about Mike?" And I said, "No." He said, "Yeah, Mike, they told me Mike raped this kid, Anthony Florio, who I believe was an adult at the time. He may have been 18, may not. I'm not sure. I've never got a clarification, although I have received some corroborating evidence on that yesterday. Thank you for the person who reached out. Also, I want to say quickly, thank you to everybody that reached out. If you're thinking about reaching out, as you can tell over the last several days here, I've received a plethora of information and have honored the request of all those who wish to remain anonymous. And I thank you for coming forward as well. So then I go look up Anthony Florio, who this person told me Mike had raped. And sure enough, I see videos of him being hauled before a judge in handcuffs for just that very reason. At the same time, the speaking out movement in wrestling, which is the same time as the Me Too movement came out, there were accusations, people saying things about Mike, which we've covered. So if you want to go back and check the other things, find me on YouTube, Fake Mike Real News. You can see all the things we covered. Keeping it up to date, yesterday we had another brave soul, and we covered it yesterday, come forward with new allegations of quid pro quo, essay, harassment, and more. I got new allegations today. I got new people coming forward today. We're going to cover that at the very end. Like, share, and subscribe. We need to get this information out to everybody. I'm doing this myself with the help of friends and people that care about the safety of children. And we don't have $1 million budget. So we rely on you folks out there and the kindness of your hearts to share this information just to protect kids. So that's the goal. And if this is your first time watching this channel, what do I personally stand for? What's my mission statement? My goal is to create a more altruistic world through nonviolence and the Socratic method. If you guys have comments, get them in there now. We're going to reach out to them and we'll check on the comments afterwards. So first and foremost, anybody that thought I was being hyperbolic in the information that I've been presenting over the last few days, all you have to do is look to what we covered yesterday. Brett's post, over 100 likes, 20 comments, a whole bunch of shares. All he said was Mike Antonucci is not a good person and he shouldn't be involved in wrestling. I'm paraphrasing. Everyone has been coming forward. Within 2 days, people thought I was being hyperbolic. Oh no, Will, he's just out of his mind. In the last 2 days, 2 new people have come forward publicly, let alone literally the immeasurable amount of people that have come. Okay, I just want to say this real quick too. I've done big videos with cool people. I'm gonna humble brag. I've done videos with Martin Luther King Jr.'s family. I've done videos with U.S. diplomats, CIA whistleblowers. I've confronted Trump. I've confronted the Clintons, asking them about Jeffrey Epstein before the mainstream news even knew who Jeffrey Epstein was. I have never received a reaction to a video as to this. It's pretty crazy and should be telling about what's going on. So everybody that thought I was being hyperbolic, within 2 days of me, just a regular guy releasing a video, 2 more brave and courageous souls have come forward. Thank you for that. All right, let's get to first things first. We're going to start off with the same thing we're going to start off with every time. Questions from Mike Antonucci. And a little teaser here. Mike Antonucci may want to answer these questions, just not with me. And that's fine. If you don't want to answer with me, answer them somewhere else. As I said before, if you can answer these questions, even not to my satisfaction, but if you can publicly answer these questions, I will delete every single video that I've done. I will give a donation to XWA, and I will issue an apology, a video apology. But until then, I'm not going anywhere until these questions are answered. Question number 1, Mike Antonucci. Why did 3 people who I have known in different capacities for over 30 years tell me that when they were underage, you raped them? And not only did they tell me, but they offered me corroborating and circumstantial evidence. Question number 2, why did someone come forward the second I released my video? Why have literally, you guys think I'm being hyperbolic, why have literally dozens of people reached out to me in the last couple of days alone? Every single day, more people reach out to me. Why did your dear friend Antonio Otama leave XWA as champion? Why were you president of North End Little League Wampscut for only 1 year? We're going to get to that. I've got a little new information on that. Stay tuned for that. Why did you leave the Boys and Girls Club? Why did you leave Future Technologies? If this is your first time joining, on my very first video about this, called Mike Antonucci, Wrestling's Jeffrey Epstein, ? One of the things I cover is an audio recording from an individual that used to work with Mike Antonucci, and there were many. There were kids from the Boys and Girls Club, there were wrestlers, and Mike specifically told him, hey, don't tell anybody you're a wrestler. I'm sure he told the kids that he met from the Boys and Girls Club, hey, don't tell anybody I met you. So I have the audio recording of somebody that Mike used to work with asking Mike's manager, why did Mike get fired? He said, was it like CP or doing weird stuff on cam? And her boss was like, yeah, he was doing stuff he wasn't supposed to be doing. CP, yeah, he was in it. Why did you leave Future Technologies? What's the real reason you created Jenna Bauer-Setti? Why did you pretend to be a woman and try to catfish your own wrestlers? That alone, even if the accusations of all these people coming forward and all the information and the audio recording of the reason he got allegedly fired from Future Technologies, a contractor of Cox Communications, which is an internet wireless telephone provider, weren't enough. I mean, me personally, imagine you were working at a vegan taco shack. You're loving it. Everyone's there is cool. Everything's great. The pay's amazing. You could retire off of it. But then your manager tries to catfish you. Would you still work there? I wouldn't. That alone is enough to me. At the XWA Training Kingdom, how many kids did you train there that were under 18? I still haven't gotten enough information on this one. What is the famous Skater Boy incident? Could you tell me what was going on with that? Because I heard that someone opened up your iPad and there was cheese pizza on there. Is this true? Who is Cam Ma Jim? Who is Cam Ma Jim? Why did you ask so many kids from the Boys and Girls Club to come on cam and beat their dicks? Again, I want to thank everybody that came out the other day in the pouring rain to protest. I also want to thank everybody that has shared the video everybody that has commented, everyone that has spoken out. I'd also like to thank another wrestler who has a big following for sharing the video. I'd also like to thank Titus Frost for sharing this video. I will be on a podcast with him and another podcast tomorrow. So I'm doing double duty, and you're going to get another video from me as well tomorrow. So stay tuned. So I've gotten some information today. One of the questions I have here is, why did you leave the Little League after only 1 year? And from what I can gather, he was pushed out for stealing, caught red-handed, and didn't even try to fight it. Which is interesting because if you've watched the last few videos, you'll hear about people working for Mike who are wrestlers, both anonymous and not, saying, oh, he did weird stuff with his taxes. I heard he may have been potentially skimming things off. Now, I'm not saying these are true, but this would be a pattern. This is a pattern we're establishing. If anybody understands anything about criminology, one of the things they'll teach you is the best indicator of future behavior is past behavior. So when you see patterns develop, you take a notice to them. And this is a pattern. Potentially stealing money from the Little League. Potentially doing shady tax practices at Frontier and Future Technologies. Potentially skimming money off from people. But this is also a pattern. One of the things that you guys have all seen, anybody that's been paying attention is a pattern, is Mike asking for sexual favors in order to push their career. Quid pro quo. One of the things that you noticed, or may not have noticed, on the audio recording asking why Mike was getting fired, and they said it was, because he had CP doing inappropriate things on his laptop during work time, is this was quid pro quo stuff going on. Allegedly, according to multiple sources that have reached out to me, back then, if you would come after work and hang out with Mike and get on the cam, you get all the good routes the next day. And anybody that's unfamiliar with cable is like, they have a different type of point system. So if you go over there and you just have to restart the router, it's probably, I don't know exactly what it is, but I'm just giving you an idea. If you restart the router, it's 1 point. But if you go over there and you're on the truck and you're on the wires and you're connecting forward boxes and cable and internet, you get more points. That being said, if you came on cam with Mike from a kid you met at the Boys and Girls Club, well, guess what, buddy? You're getting all the big routes. You're getting all the big money. But if you didn't, or if you spurned my advances, same thing in wrestling. Hey, you want to come to Disney with me, kid? We're taking a boys trip. Oh, hell yeah, let's take a boys trip. Where are we going? To LA? We going to Tijuana? Disney. Disney? Yeah, we're taking a boys trip to Disney. Don't worry, I'm going to pay for everything, and we're going to be in a hotel room. A big, nice hotel room. But all together. I'm not going to get you guys separate rooms. So you got a pattern here. A pattern of potentially stealing money, doing shady stuff, skimming money, doing shady stuff with taxes, and then same thing you see. Hey, you want to come on cam? Great, cool. You get more money. You get more routes. You get more points. Hey, do you want to do a weird spa thing for me? Hey, do you want to do exactly what I say in custom wrestling? And if you guys don't know what custom wrestling is, go back and look at the other videos. Oh, no, you don't? Looks like you're going to be assigned to the mid card forever. Quite frankly, I'm one of the things, I'm not going to name any specific names here, but and I get it, this is tough news. Sometimes it takes people to process a little bit to process information. One of the things I found interesting, and a very small minority of people that reached out to me or I reached out to them was, oh yeah, I didn't notice anything weird. You mean the guy that is dressed exactly like Stone Cold, comes out to Stone Cold's music, does Stone Cold's finishing move, never got trained as a wrestler, That alone is weird to me. Like if anybody doesn't know, I was his best friend at the time. I known him since I was 13, 14 years old. I was 18, 19 at the time. And when XWA started in 2001, so I would have been about 18, 19 at that time. And I was like, yeah, Mike's cool, Mike's whatever, but like, bro, you want to pretend you're Stone Cold, bro? Like, I even have my own character, my own thing. Like, that's kind of cringe. Now, for those of you who don't know, I showed up with a whole bunch of brave souls on Sunday at Mike's last XWA event in the pouring rain to protest. I've spoken to several wrestlers that were there that day, several people that were not wrestlers that were there that day, several people that were spectators that day. Now, I'm going to set a scenario for you. Imagine somebody says you harmed, potentially, allegedly, children. Someone's saying, hey, you may have SA'd children. What do you think? What would you do? My first response is if someone's out in front of my business saying, this guy did terrible things to children, I'd be like, whoa, what the heck? I go out immediately. Bro, what are you guys doing? What evidence do you have? I go out and talk to them. Instead, this is what Mike does. Mike sicks his brother on me, tries to intimidate me. Doesn't work. And then according to multiple people that were there, they're like, hey, there's a guy outside accusing you potentially, allegedly, of crimes against children. How does he respond? Not going out here and addressing it and like, whoa, you guys are crazy. You got me with the wrong guy, somebody with the same name. No. He says, hang on, I gotta take care of the music. I gotta make sure the lighting is right for the mid-light heavyweight European Tag Team Universal TV YouTube Championship. Just a little bit of psychological insight there. The music for his wrestling show of 12 people was more important than him responding to me, to the people outside, to the fans, and even potentially more importantly, to his locker room. Hey, Mike, someone out there is saying you're doing some terrible things. Hang on, I have to make sure that I did a cool remix of Vader's 1993 entrance music, and I'm gonna put some dubstep over that. Should tell you all you need to know, folks. Yesterday we covered Brett's post. Brett was brave enough to speak out. Brett said, hey, guy wants to go to Disney. We're going with the boys. We're going to hang out. Where are we going to hang out, guys? We're going to go to Vegas. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. No, we're going to go thanks for the gumball, Mickey. We're going to Disney. So Brett makes a post. One of the things I wanted to point out about this was a commenter under Brett's post. And this person says, I remember a conversation between two of our Kingdom classmates about what a trip to Disney with Mike entailed. I will always remember the look they shared as they talked. ... Haunting. I never personally saw any of the stuff that went down, but I was not Mike's type. Spoiler alert. Well, I'm not even going to give it up for a cheap joke. That said, I saw enough circumstantial stuff to 100% believe everything that's being said. Haunting. Hey guys. Heard you just came back from that crazy boys trip down to Disney. What was that like? Apparently haunted. Haunting. Pardon me, guys. I'm going to take a quick sip of the beverage. All right. Okay. 3 more things to cover, and then I'll get to your comments. If you guys have any questions, new information that you think is useless, fake Mike, That's FAKEMIC. Real News, fake Mike Real News at gmail.com. Instagram, fake Mike Real News. Inbox me. It may take some people have texted me earlier today. I have been overwhelmed, and I got people messaging me again throughout the stream. I'm gonna get to all your information. I'm gonna sift through it. If you want to come to me and remain anonymous, I will tell your story anonymously. If you want to come to me and be anonymous and not even allow me to say something, but just say, hey, yeah, you remember what you were saying about that? Spot on. And anybody that's watched my videos recently with this situation or historically knows that I do not divulge my sources. If you want to come on and tell your entire story publicly so that this does not happen to other people, you have my full undivided attention and my channel is yours. Next thing. This is a public post from Ben Kacheri. Going forward, I will no longer associate myself in any shape or form with XWA. I'm embarrassed and appalled at myself for not leaving sooner. If anyone wants to reach out to me who's been affected by everything, my line is always open. Sorry, I said 4 more things. So I got some new anonymous stuff here, and I have a new public stuff here. And then I got one special treat for you guys at the end. Now, I'm not going to say everything in here. I'm going to jump around in this. I'm going to give you guys a gist of this, because even though I was told I could say everything in here, I'm going to go above and beyond to protect that person's identity. So I worked for XWA on and off, and we're going to say the time period is anywhere from 2009 to 2022. I was 18 and very new to wrestling, and I saw XWA as a place to get more reps in. Mike seemed like a nice guy, and he was more than willing to give me an opportunity. The XWA had this perception of a bigger independent promotion in the area, so I was heavily invested. And that's one thing that you have to keep in mind. XWA did have Ric Flair, Bret Hart, all these, Cody Rhodes, Rey Mysterio. They had all the big names. Me personally, if I was looking to get into wrestling and I was 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 26, 30 years old, and I see the pedigree of people that have been in the shows, I'd be like, okay, this is a good idea. Pardon me. He says, I got some pretty big opportunities very early on and received pretty substantial criticism from more experienced workers, which I thought was just blatant hate because I'd been working really hard at the time. The way I perceive what was said here is, he's thinking, I'm getting hated on by all these wrestlers. In my mind, what I'm thinking when I'm reading this is, you're an 18-year-old kid, you're hot, you're Mike's type, and you're getting, because you're hot and you're Mike's type, and he wants sexual access to you, you're getting pushed up the card, and meanwhile, wrestlers that have been there 20, 30 years, who are probably, and I don't know what this person looks like, but hypothetically, these people are bigger, stronger, more talented, better on the mic, but because you're hot, now I'm not saying that's the case. This guy could be a talented wrestler, obviously, right? But that's what I'm thinking. Then I started noticing something. I was hanging out with Mike fairly regularly at his house for pool parties and whatnot. Out for meals, you name it, never paid a dime. Same thing with me. When I was, especially because when I first met Mike, I was 13, 14 years old. I didn't have a job. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm going to read the next part. Tell me if you've heard this before yesterday, or today online, or somewhere else online. The same pattern again. There's patterns. We're noticing patterns here. Now, I've played sports my whole life, so I get a good game pat on the ass is okay from time to time. And we all get that, right? We play baseball, basketball, football, right? But it was a little excessive sometimes. The random nipple pinching was another thing. He used to do that to me. He used to do that to kids at the Boys and Girls Club. This is a pattern. The overly sexual jokes were another thing. What did we say? He leaves porn on when he's got sleepovers. He's going to Disney. Overly sexual innuendos. Pinching the nipples. Grabbing the ass. Oh, I got a special move for you. The overly sexual jokes were another thing as well. I understand I wasn't underage, but it was all really weird to me. I kind of bypassed the weird feelings with the notion XW is going to help me get the exposure and ascend the ladder of pro wrestling. When the weekly shows started showing up around 2016, I began working every week for free to get reps in hopes of big opportunity. I always felt weird in the locker room, and now I know why. I did end up getting some cool opportunities for big matches with XWA, but I will never forget how uncomfortable I felt all the time. As a man, it's really hard for me to speak out about this stuff and would greatly appreciate it if I stayed anonymous. I hope. So, I can't even count now. We had a new SA allegation yesterday. Another one there, which is anonymous. And now this post was brought to my attention. And I've never met or spoken with this individual. Didn't even come up in my initial investigation. But I want to say that I love this person because he is incredibly courageous and incredibly brave for speaking up. Here's a post he made. This is Jay Evans. I'm sharing my story not for attention, but because I don't want someone else to experience what I went through if it can be prevented. When I began training back in 2018, 2019, the owner of the facility repeatedly sexually harassed me. He would grope me and justify his actions by saying, "This is what the boys do here." Just what we heard. Like I said, it's one thing, pat on the ass, good game. Groping, grabbing nipples, grabbing other stuff, that's what the boys do here. He would grope me and justify his actions by saying, quote, "This is what the boys do here," end quote. Send me explicit videos and make inappropriate comments on multiple occasions. He also attempted to pressure me into sexual favors in exchange for opportunities and spots on shows, which I was refused. What did we talk about at the beginning with the quid pro quo? A pattern. At the time, I was helping however I could, such as assisting at the shows, working at the candy and popcorn station, yet I was constantly put in uncomfortable situations. He would repeatedly message me, asking me to expose myself on camera. How many times have we heard that? From me saying it, from others saying it, from Cox Communications, from the wrestlers, from Jenna Bauer-Setti. He repeatedly messaged me, asking me to expose myself on camera, a message I chose to ignore because I didn't know how to respond or confront the situation. What a brave person Jay Evans is. Things escalated further when he tried convincing me to go to Disney World with him, offering to cover all expenses as long as we shared a hotel room. I mean, if you want to stay in other rooms, then play your own way. If you want to make it in the wrestling world, kid, that was the line I refused to cross, and ultimately one of the reasons I stepped away from wrestling for a long time. And that's the sad part about it. Wrestling is such an awesome, beautiful thing. Honestly, I would argue that it's the peak of all entertainment. You've got acrobatics, you've got theatrics, and you have to be able to tell a story at the same time. You've got music, you've got a live crowd interacting. In a live crowd in wrestling, if they don't like something, they're going to tell you can't wrestle. And if somebody tries to promote you as a big person, they're going to say, "No, we hate you." Wrestling is awesome. And one of the things that is so sick is like, Mike would dangle this carrot of like, "Hey, you want to be like Ric Flair, Rey Mysterio? Just do everything I said." And when sexual favors were reneged. Oh, guess what? Now you're going on the mid card. I just don't want to catch a copyright strike with the music in the background. Sorry. And so I feel bad about this gentleman. So he stepped away from wrestling for a very long time. Many people who were earnest and maybe could be superstars or awesome one of these days. Nah, I didn't get the chance. It's been 8 years. I finally found the courage to break my silence because someone else found the strength to speak up first. What we are exposing is not fabricated, exaggerated, or made up. It is the truth. Speaking about these experiences is not easy, especially after carrying them for so long, but silence only allows these situations to continue. At the end of the day, my goal is simple: to make sure nobody else has to go through what we did. Nobody should feel unsafe, manipulated, pressured, or afraid while chasing their passion. I'm going to read the last 3 parts again because I think it's so important. It's been 8 years and I finally found the courage to break my silence because someone else found the strength to speak up first. Thank you, Brett, for what you did. You gentlemen are so courageous. I welcome other people to speak out. FakeMikeRealNews@gmail.com, FakeMikeRealNews on Instagram. All it takes is the actions of one. All it takes is the indifference of good men and women, and then evil triumphs. Then what he says, we are not exposed. What we are exposing is not fabricated, exaggerated, or made up. It is the truth. Speaking about these experiences is not easy, especially after carrying them for so long. It's tough. If you want to remain anonymous, I will honor my word to keep you anonymous. And I understand. This guy was my friend for a long time. It's not easy to do this, but silence only allows these situations to continue. So if you could muster up the bravery to speak out, hopefully this won't happen to someone else in the future. I mean, when I was reading these, it gave me goosebumps. But these are true heroes. At the end of the day, my goal is simple: to make sure nobody else has to go through what we did. No one should feel unsafe, manipulated, pressured, or afraid while chasing their passion. I couldn't agree with that more. Thank you, Jay. Thank you, Brett, for coming out. So I'm going to be on 2 podcasts tomorrow. I'm going to be on the Titus Ross Show. Everyone go check out Titus Ross on X. And that'll probably be after the Showcase Wrestling podcast that I'll be on tomorrow. So check me out there for a listen. I will. If you, also got one more thing here. Leave this name off just in case for now. I received a text from this person, and obviously I haven't got a chance to read it. So we're gonna. Who knows? We're gonna keep this person anonymous for now. But so tomorrow I'm going to be on 2 more podcasts. I'm also going to be here live. Check me out on YouTube, Fake Mike Real News. Hit the bell so you know when we're going live. Also, when I first started investigating this years ago, I said, hey, Mike, a bunch of my YouTube subscribers are saying that you've been accused of some weird shit. What's going on? He was like, oh, let's get a call and talk about it. And I said, yes, let's do that. And at that time, I didn't have all the context, which I still don't. And that's why I need help from you guys, Eddie, and everything. So please reach out. I didn't understand half the names, and I didn't have nearly as much information as I have now. So Mike was like, oh yeah, let me tell you about it. So we did. And I recorded it. And we're going to listen to it. And it's going to be Friday night. And we're going to break down what he says. I'm going to let you guys, the folks at home, tell me, does his defense of my questions, is it satisfactory to you? We'll see. So we know that when Mike was confronted with the fact that, hey, there's people outside that have been waiting out there in the rain because they say you're doing weird stuff, because he's like, oh, hold on, gotta check the music. Where's that? Where's the, oh, they're right here. I got too many gosh darn papers. So this is a screenshot of a text I received. This is from Mike Antonucci right here. And thank you for everybody sending me this information. We're going to do it, guys. We're going to see this through his logical progression. It's either the best case scenario, Mike comes on, he answers all the cool questions, we're like, oh, crap, that was a misunderstanding. Or he doesn't answer the questions, and we follow through its nonviolent, legal, lawful, logical conclusion, and we make sure that this guy is never wrestling, never doing a show, never doing nothing like that. Mike Antonucci, he's texting somebody, correctly, Chris Sanders, I believe is the name, something like that. He goes as Wolverine on the wrestling world, and he also has a podcast. He's a local wrestler in Rhode Island. Mike says, do you want the podcast of all podcasts? So Mike is desperate. He doesn't want to talk to me. He doesn't want to even publicly address it. Because, bro, if there was a shit ton of people online saying, yo, Will, they're calling me something bad, I'd be like, address it. I'd be like, yo, I don't know who's telling y'all what, but tell them to come to me, tell them to bring some evidence, and tell them to keep my name out the mouth unless they have some real evidence. Silence. And then he messages, not who's a big podcaster, not Mr. Beast, not Joe Rogan, he messages Wolverine. He's like, do you want the podcast of all podcasts? Please, he should have said yes. Hi, Mike. Haven't done any conversations like that and don't plan on doing. Thanks for thinking of me, though. That's a plain way of saying F off. I respect that. Someone suggested you first. Thanks for getting back to me. Owned. No, no. I'm not going to spin your little shit, buddy. I appreciate everyone that joined me. Let's take a quick look at the comments. We're going to end with the questions from Mike. See if anybody commented here. Guys, get my videos out. That's the best way to put them in the, get my videos out there for the, in a whole bunch of the different Facebook groups, wrestling community, people you know, send it to people. All right, let's check the YouTube comments. Revolt against tyranny. Oh, we got La Science de la Musique from Quebec. We got New Mexico in the house. Canada's in the house. Mellows. Shout outs to Nick. Shout out to Mellows. I love Mellows. Shout outs to Eyes in the Audit. Mellows always knows I got to disappear for a little bit and then I come back. Yeah, he can't really respond is what somebody's saying there. You're absolutely right. He's probably speaking with the lawyer, but go ahead. I mean, everything I said is alleged. Everything I said has receipts. And even if he wanted to sue me, go ahead. Please sue me. I get discovery. And I don't care what you went and deleted as soon as I went and protest and dropped that video. You ever heard of forensics? They can go back and check that shit anyways. So, Mike, you want to sue me? Please, 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 please sue me. Go ahead. Great. You want to give me access to your checks and emails and your computer? Please. Be my guest. Be my guest. Funny, going ape. That's funny. What up, the tribe? Yeah, if anybody wants to reach out, fakemikerealnews@gmail.com. Instagram, fakemikerealnews. So, all right, final questions. Mike Antonucci, we'll see you guys tomorrow night. I'm going to be on Titus Frost. Go check out Titus Frost on X, Showcase Wrestling Podcast. Invited me on to discuss this, so I will go on any platform to get this information out there. Well, not any. I will draw the line in some places. One, Mike, well, I have 3 people who I know, who I have no reason to believe they're lying, and they've given me circumstantial and corroborating evidence. Told me that you raped them when they were underage. Why have so many people come forward since I released my video? Why is Antonio Atama your dear friend? Why did he leave XWA when he was the champion at that? Why were you the president of the Little League for 1 year? Is it because you were stealing? Why did you leave the Boys and Girls Club? Why did you leave Future Technologies? Does it have anything to do with the audio recording, which I played in my very first video, which detailed how the manager basically confirmed when he was asked, oh yeah, why did Mike get fired? He was like, yeah, CP, doing weird stuff on the cam, stuff he's not supposed to do. Why did you create a female personality called Jenna Power Sadie and catfish your own employees? How many students at the Kingdom were under 18? What happened to them? What's with the Skater Boy CP iPad incident? I'd like to get clarification there. Who was Cam Ma Jim? Why did you ask so many kids from the Boys and Girls Club to get on your webcam and beat their shit? This is dark, disturbing shit. And I'm going to go after this, and I've got a bunch of new emails, bunch of new messages. I'm going to go through it. If you want to remain anonymous, as you can tell from what I've been doing lately, if you go back and look at my work historically, keep my sources anonymous. If you want to tell me something and you don't want it said, I will honor that. If you want to tell me something and you want it said and you want it to be anonymous, I will also honor that. If you want to tell me something and you want to use my channel as a platform to air your grievances, I will also allow that. Best thing you guys can do is like, share, and subscribe. Get these videos out. Join the Facebook groups that are wrestling, especially the local wrestling ones. Share this one. Say, hey, what do you guys think about this? You don't have to say you're pro. You don't have to say you're against what I'm saying. Just ask people what their thoughts are. So I will see you guys tomorrow night. Thanks for everybody joining. If you want to reach out, it's fakemikerealnews on gmail.com. That's fake Mike with the M-I-C, not an M-I-K-A. Fake M-I-C realnews at gmail.com. Instagram, fake Mike Real News. Appreciate everyone coming forward. I really appreciate you two gentlemen that were brave. And again, we're going to see this through to its logical conclusion. Thank you. Peace.